Now, as Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell were haranguing the House to send $60 billion more to Ukraine, a vicious campaign of Christian persecution is happening right in our own hemisphere. Communist Nicaragua recently jailed 11 pastors connected to a Christian organization called Mountain Gateway, accusing them of money laundering and organized crime. Now, the country is now reportedly pursuing charges against the group's founder and his family, all of whom are U.S. citizens. Joining me now is that pastor, J. Britt Hancock. Pastor, good to see you tonight. What are you accused of, and what's your reaction to these charges?
We're accused of money laundering, and it's a bogus charge.
Based on what? What are they basing it on?
They're not basing it on anything. Like, we've not seen any charging documents or anything like that. Really, it's a screen, I think, to take away from the fact that they threw a bunch of our people in jail, pastors.
Now, what's their ultimate goal, the goal of any communist society, which is to, of course, suppress religious observance and ultimately ban it altogether?
Yeah, we had a series of 8 mass evangelism campaigns in 2023. We had right at 1 million people attend those campaigns. They gave us the National Plaza in Managua, in the capital city, the Plaza de Fe. And we had over 200,000 people kind of flood into that space.
That's a threat to them. Right off the bat, that's a threat.
Yeah, 30 days after that, or 31 days, they started arresting our people and seizing our assets and canceled all of our permissions to be there, our registration, and they indicted myself and my son and my daughter-in-law.
Well, we don't have extradition, obviously, with Nicaragua, thank goodness. But what's your message to people watching this, as America is obviously spending billions and billions of dollars in other countries that are far away from here, and they don't really think that much of what's happening in our own hemisphere?
Yeah, indeed. I think the issue really that we're engaged with in Nicaragua and maybe a few other countries in Latin America is that there really is a rising pressure for religious persecution and human rights violations. You know, that what got our people in prison was religious persecution, and what's keeping them in prison is human rights violations. And so there's this history in the last 5 years, particularly in Nicaragua, where they've just gotten tighter and tighter and tighter and more repressive. They kicked out 3,600 NGOs, and
Russia's done the same thing with NGOs, and this is the history again. China's done the same thing with the persecution of Christians who don't behave, meaning who don't toe the communist line. And last year, Christians faced a record level of violent attacks. The International Christian Persecution Watchdog Group, Open Doors, warned in its latest annual report about this increase in violence in places of worship worldwide. 5,000 Christians were killed for their faith. I think that's a low number, Pastor, given what's happening in Africa alone, which gets no coverage at all in South Sudan. I mean, they're burning entire Christian villages there.
Without a doubt. Persecution against the church is probably higher than it's ever been in history worldwide right now. And so it's a big problem, and it definitely happening in Nicaragua. You know, one of our people in prison is a young mother, and she has 2 children that are U.S. citizens, and one of them's 4 months old, one of them's 2 years old, and it's really against the law for them to separate her from her children, but they're not letting them be together, and so we're very concerned because we can't verify the health of any of the prisoners.
Have you gotten any help from the Biden administration, the Biden State Department? Have they been engaged?
Yes, the State Department. I've been here in Washington meeting with the State Department and with members of both the House and the Senate. We have a building coalition. I think they're working on a resolution to put on the floor to condemn this pretty soon.
You got to have money behind it. It's got to be cut off the money. Any money, any U.S. business dollars in Nicaragua, as long as this continues. Well, we hope your people who are there in prison get out. And thank you for speaking about this. And as we're in the Easter season, the Lenten season now, this is going to be a tough time. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura.